Hello and welcome to my video. Google Maps is one of those things that feels almost magical the first time you really use it. You can sit in your room at 2 a.m. and suddenly be walking through tiny alleyways in Tokyo or literally anywhere else in the world, even desolate locations like Antarctica if that's what you wanted to do. And the more you explore Google Street View, the stranger things sometimes end up becoming. And today we're going to be diving into the creepiest and most bizarre encounters you can find, or were able to find in the past, from Google Maps and Google Street View in Japan. We're going to be looking at some pretty niche and obscure stuff this video. Well, I guess we usually do on this channel. With that said, let's get started. One of the stranger things people have encountered on Google Street View in Japan comes from right in the middle of Tokyo, in broad daylight even. At first, it honestly looks convincing enough. Above the skyline, floating between all these tightly packed buildings, there's this bizarre little object hanging or even possibly floating in the sky. It almost looks organic, kind of like a jellyfish, and it's suspended in midair. And I, for one, know jellyfish usually are not found in the ocean. Wait, I messed up my own joke. And I, for one, know that jellyfish are usually found in the ocean. The brains of many internet users viewing this immediately start trying to figure out what exactly they're looking at. For that reason, a lot of those people online in Japan, as this capture was first taken note of, jumped straight to the conclusion that this was a UFO, or an alien. It would absolutely catch you off guard, especially because it doesn't really resemble a normal plane or helicopter or silhouette of anything you're used to seeing in the sky like that. But see, this is also what makes Street View so interesting. A split-second moment captured by a moving camera at the right time can accidentally create something that feels genuinely uncanny. For example, a bird caught at the perfect angle at the perfect time with the perfect lighting can suddenly become something alien looking. And after people zoomed in and analyzed this image a little more closely, it's concluded that that's probably what this actually is a photo of. Probably just a crow or something similar caught mid-flight. Still though, there's something weirdly unsettling about how ordinary things can become so foreign under different perspectives. And if you want to see it for yourself, the image was captured in July of 2016 and can be found at these coordinates. So there's this place in Japan called Shizukuishi Memorial Forest, and if you ever go down the rabbit hole of creepy Google Maps locations in Japan for yourself, especially when searching in Japanese, you will see this area listed as among the most dangerous or most haunted locations you can accidentally find yourself looking at or scrolling into, you know. Many find the location unsettling when just simply visiting it digitally. Why? Because it's tied to a real-life disaster. See, back in 1971, an ANA passenger jet collided mid-air with a Japanese military aircraft. The plane went down in the forest, claiming the lives of 162 people in one of the deadliest aviation disasters in Japan at this point in time. So already the place has serious weight behind it. It's a memorial site, not a tourist attraction and not an urban legend. And online, the site remains infamous. People began exploring it through Google Street View, and what they saw wasn't anything supernatural at first glance, just a dense, empty forest with narrow roads and a inexplicable heavy atmosphere. Street View has a tendency to warp anything that moves. People become stretched out, faces blur, or intentionally blurred out, and normally that's ignored. But here, online users correlate the tragedy with these uncanny visuals, believing it to be a paranormal occurrence, or proof that there is the presence of spirits. And that's really the core of it. Nothing is actually caught on camera here, but it remains infamous nonetheless. The location became so associated with ghost tourism and internet horror culture that officials actually renamed the forest from Memorial or Solace Forest to Forest Dew Park, partially to shift the image away from it being known as a haunted location. And of course, that negative implication that goes with that. There is another location on Google Maps infamous for this very same reason, actually. In Fukui Prefecture, there's a place called Tojinbo. On the surface, it's a famous tourist spot with massive cliffs and dramatic rock formations carved by the sea. It's very beautiful. A place many people visit for the stunning views alone. However, this area also has a darker reputation, often associated online with tragic incidents over the years. Its infamy is almost on the same level as Aokigahara. People notice something strange in the imagery. Whenever pedestrians appear near certain parts of the cliffs, their bodies sometimes look incomplete. Now, to be fair, this does happen with Street View. It's very common. It's a system stitching together hundreds of moving images. People walk through frames, the camera catches them mid-motion. It's real life, after all. That part alone is not unusual. What is unusual to many people online is how often it seems to happen in this specific area, repeated enough that it started circulating in Japanese posts and comments. Repeated enough that it started circulating in Japanese posts and comments that use kawaii street view, or scary street view, creepy street view, what have you, as a keyword. Aokigahara is another infamous spot that is often visited on Google Street View, as it is possible to see remnants of people having been in the forest. Stuff like discarded objects that were left behind when viewing certain areas within Aokigahara in Google Maps. I am being intentionally vague, and if this is a topic you are curious about, discretion is very, very strongly advised if you do choose to look into it. Liminal spaces are one of those things that are strangely hard to explain until you see one. Despite that, they have become very popular online and even in popular culture, especially in recent years. Liminal spaces are places that feel temporary or fleeting. Hallways, waiting rooms, train stations, empty malls, areas primarily designed for people to pass through, not stay in. And when those places are suddenly empty, void of that life, they start to feel unsettling or even nostalgic in a way that's difficult to fully pinpoint. A lot of people say liminal spaces feel like memories from a dream. There's actually nothing dangerous usually in liminal space images unless you've, found yourself in the back rooms. That was so cringe, man. And as it turns out, Google Maps is great for looking for liminal spaces. This particular location is in Kyoto and almost looks fake. Part of a show or movie set at first glance. The lighting is too clean, the platform just kind of stretches on, and there's absolutely nobody there. And when you remove all the people from a place designed around constant motion, especially a train station within Japan, things suddenly feel uncanny. Japan seems to produce these kinds of images constantly. Here's yet another one found on Google Maps. It's so interesting because these places are probably pretty welcoming and pleasant if visited in real life. As for these very specific moments captured here, you can see the first one with these coordinates. Hang on, my scalp itches. This next image became infamous online because honestly, it looks like something straight out of a J-horror film. The street view capture was taken outside of a supermarket in Fukushima Prefecture. Standing alone in this parking lot is a woman, dressed entirely in white and just kind of existing there, which makes this image appear more unsettling to people online. Said people online immediately compared her to Sadako from Ringu, or other classic Japanese ghost imagery. The posture, the white clothing, the isolation of the scene. It accidentally lines up almost perfectly with the visual language of Japanese horror films, even when it was very likely just a woman passing through in that very moment. And unlike some of the other locations we've looked at, this one isn't creepy because of glitches or distortions, or even the infamy of the location itself. It's just a parking lot. The woman herself looks completely normal. It's just the context that makes the image feel wrong. A completely ordinary person standing in a parking lot suddenly becomes unsettling and infamous to many because of the way Street View freezes that specific moment in time. Honestly, if you look at any other capture from that specific area in that specific position, there is absolutely nothing creepy about this area or anything going on within it. There exists a specific capture of this phone booth that is notorious on Google Street View in Japan, one that shows the faint image of a person inside the phone booth. An element that especially creeps online users out is how Google usually detects all faces and blurs them out, for privacy reasons. This face, however, was never detected or blurred, and it's also transparent in appearance. Yeah, it could be reflecting something or someone, but nobody is around, and this is a pretty rural area, and also the phone booth is in a pretty shady spot, so who knows how reflective it would be. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. Perhaps the figure within the phone booth is the ghost of somebody now haunting that very location. Who's to say? Most Google Street View images feel strangely detached from reality. Even when something weird appears, it still feels distant and mostly harmless. This one doesn't. In Nakafurano, Street View captured what appears to be the immediate aftermath of a serious traffic accident. A vehicle is completely overturned near the roadside, unlike the more fantastical, creepy discoveries people usually associate with Street View, the more paranormal things. This one feels saddening and uncomfortable because it is undeniably real, and people could have been or were hurt. There's no ghost story attached to it, no urban legend, but it is the result of a very dangerous situation and potential tragedy archived online forever, simply because a camera car passed by at the wrong time. Within Google Street View, we see both the curated and the not curated, and that's part of what makes it so intriguing and sometimes a bit horrifying. If there is any location in Japan almost guaranteed to appear in discussions about haunted places online, it's Inunaki Tunnel. As a matter of fact, I've discussed this location more than once on this channel. The tunnel has been surrounded by urban legends for years. Stories about ghosts, disappearances, strange voices, all the usual internet horror stuff. And the tunnel itself, well, it's not very pleasant looking at first glance as well. You don't need context to feel uneasy when looking at it, especially with it being boarded up and visibly unkempt. Inunaki Tunnel is infamous for two reasons. One being the infamous urban legend of Inunaki Village, a strange village people can just kinda no-clip to, and those who do never make it out alive. This is a story as popular as Kisaragi Station, with similar themes. There is also the second reason, the very real and very gruesome 1988 murder that took place within Inunaki Tunnel. The tunnel itself was built back in 1949, but replaced with a newer one in 1975. With that said, the tunnel was not in use when the crime had occurred. It had been abandoned for about 13 years by that point in time. This doesn't stop many from visiting it in person, and naturally, people began exploring it virtually through Google Maps. And honestly, visiting it virtually is still enough to make online users quite uneasy. The area surrounding the tunnel is isolated and overgrown, with narrow roads cutting through dense forest. People online became convinced they could see figures standing inside or near the tunnel as well. Many claim these visual errors are far more common in haunted locations, especially when passing through the tunnel itself in Google Street View causes this to occur on screen.
Guys, I found at the Inunaki Tunnel. Let's see what's inside. What is that?
Due to these jarring visuals, it's become somewhat of a trend to look it up online and add the Inunaki Tunnel hashtag to posts of the footage. But wait.
I found at the Inunaki Tunnel.
Hold on. Wait.
I found at the Inunaki Tunnel. Guys, I found at the Inunaki Tunnel.
Yep, if your screen glitches like this after viewing a Japanese tunnel, you were never supposed to see what comes next and get offline immediately. Through the Inunaki Tunnel in Japan, we're noticing their entire screen glitching, turning red and unable to move.
Is this footage really of Inunaki Tunnel though? Remember how the actual one is boarded up and not in use? You can't actually go through it on Google Maps. This isn't Inunaki Tunnel, but rather another supposedly haunted tunnel known as Old Sashiki Tunnel. The original Inunaki Tunnel is in Fukuoka Prefecture, about 96 miles away from this one. So, no, this is not Inunaki Tunnel, but why are people calling it Inunaki Tunnel online? Well, simply because some dude decided to mark it as such on Google Maps, just pin it as Inunaki Tunnel. So while someone did mark this location as Inunaki Tunnel, it is not the original Inunaki Tunnel, just to clarify. Though, regardless of name, the phenomena witnessed here remains exactly the same. The real old Inunaki Tunnel remains a popular haunted location in itself, but now I guess we have two haunted tunnels on our hands in this section. So, once a place already has this kind of reputation, your brain starts interpreting every shadow, every little glitch, every little thing that happens differently. And this isn't really a little thing, it's the entire screen just kinda doing this. Now, speaking of Kisaragi Station, of course, people have tried searching for the real-life location of it, especially on Google Maps. I mean, it's a huge urban legend in Japan, so naturally. So, what happens if you do just that? Like, seriously, just search Kisaragi Station, those exact words, on Google Maps. One of two places will pop up. That's right. There's multiple results, or at least there were. First one is Saginomiya Station, located in Shizuoka. And while one could assume this is just Google thinking you misspelled the station's name, it is genuinely believed that the Kisaragi Station urban legend has its roots in Saginomiya Station, and that Kisaragi Station itself is based on this physical location, or that OP was inspired by this location or had taken this train and these routes surrounding it often. Okay, cool. But, however, what happens if you search Kisaragi Station in Japanese? Well, it doesn't work anymore, but it used to. So, for some time, the pond within the University of Tsukuba in Ibaraki Prefecture would appear as the location for Kisaragi Station. This pond is outside Building A within the university, and it specifically is known as Matsumi Pond. And smack dab in the middle of it was once the marker for Kisaragi Station. In addition, nearby stations from the legend, like Yami Station and Katatsu Station, also appeared around it, around it on the map, making it lore accurate. Could it be possible? Is it possible that the portal to the legendary Kisaragi Station is at the bottom of that very pond? What does the University of Tsukuba know that we don't? What do they know? I mean, it appears this is not the only dark happening in this area, as students at this university all know this pond has a dark reputation, as it's the source for many urban legends and dark incidents. What kind of dark incidents, you may be asking? Well, believe it or not, this very pond was also the location that the one and only My Melody had atoned for their sins. What could these sins have possibly included? We may never know. No, seriously though, if you search literally that, My Melody atoning for her sins, just like this, it will bring up photographic evidence of My Melody atoning for her sins at this very pond, and discussion from online users speculating the gravity of her crimes. This display was apparently set up in the pond for some time before it was either removed or My Melody sunk further into the lake. If anything, it seems like someone or some of the students at this university have a pretty good sense of humor and know how to create good memes. The real tragedy here is if that My Melody plushie sunk to the bottom of the lake. That's actually genuinely saddening to me. Justice for My Mellow. She has suffered enough. Hey, you there! Did you know that I am also a VTuber? Well, you definitely do now because, well, You're looking right at me. While this channel is home to my deep dives, documentaries, internet mystery type stuff, I also stream live over on Twitch as Sakura Star. If you like to hear me yap here, you may possibly enjoy my live streams as well. Think of it as a more relaxed live version of my content over here. All that aside, I would love to see you there. You can find all of my links down below. This next image became popular online for a very simple reason. It doesn't look real, and many Street View users can't even fathom how it occurred in the first place. People found this random street in Osaka where once you click forward at a certain point, everything suddenly morphs. The roads get dark, the image starts warping, weird lights appear everywhere, like not even in a creepy edited way either. It looks bizarrely real, and also not real at the same time. And the most intriguing part is if you keep clicking forward just a little bit more, everything goes right back to normal like nothing happened. So naturally, people online in Japan started calling it the entrance to another world, which is a niche in itself in Japanese internet culture, with many online claiming there are actually various entrances to another world, or other worlds, I'm not sure if it's plural or not, throughout Japan and even the world, basically claiming there are isekai points in real life. What I like about this one is that it really doesn't scare you immediately, but it's inexplicable and you don't know how to undo it. Like, imagine just clicking through a street, this happens and you're like, what? And yeah, of course it's probably just some kind of camera stitching issue, or some kind of artifacting or corrupted Street View data, but honestly, the fact it happened so suddenly in the middle of a normal neighborhood makes it way creepier than if this happened somewhere already known for horror stuff. Now this is another one that's really not visually shocking at all. While this may not come off as especially disturbing, there are those in Japan who are too afraid to visit this tunnel in person, and instead witness it virtually, though some are even too afraid to do that. That's because many feel that there is a strong spiritual presence within this tunnel. Now it's literally just a tunnel with a road going through it in a heavily populated area within the center of Tokyo. However, it's also underneath a cemetery. This is Sendagaya Tunnel in Tokyo, built in 1964 around the same time as the Olympics. But despite how long it's been around and how many people use it every day, the place has developed a reputation online. And like I said, it's somewhere people avoid physically and even digitally. There are also some who are okay going through the tunnel in the daytime, but at night it's a completely different story, as the energy is described as being much heavier. The tunnel itself is dimly lit and stained with age, and the fact that an entire graveyard sits directly above it doesn't exactly help things. Japanese horror culture focuses heavily on atmosphere, as we discussed a little earlier, and it's said that nothing compares to how it feels visiting the tunnel at night. Nothing jumps out at you, at least I hope that hasn't happened, and nothing is visibly paranormal in these Street View captures. There aren't even any odd glitches or stretched out imagery or weird artifacting here. It just feels wrong in a way that's hard to explain for many. The urban legends surrounding this tunnel vary from person to person, though the most common include a woman in white appearing in the tunnel late at night, apparitions appearing in the reflections of car mirrors or windows, or even in the back seats of the vehicles themselves, strange feelings or unexplained sounds while driving or walking through, and taxi drivers reportedly refusing fares through the tunnel after dark. These types of accounts are commonly witnessed on Nichan and 5chan. In addition, if you're curious as to how they constructed the tunnel through the graveyard itself, there are popular stories and legends that claim the cemetery was never moved, though historical accounts indicate the graves were temporarily relocated during construction and then restored above the completed tunnel. Abandoned amusement parks are already unsettling enough, in real life or in photographs, and they are quite common in Japan. There are a lot of abandoned amusement parks in Japan, so many in fact, that a video solely discussing that could absolutely be made. Express interest in the comments if you'd watch that, it helps me plan what to make next. Anyways, the park we're about to explore here in this video is notorious for being explored through Google Maps. Numa Leisureland was a quaint amusement park that now lays rusting and forgotten among the foliage. It opened in 1979 as a large, quote-unquote, leisure resort complex. At its peak, it attracted around 200 to 300,000 visitors per year, making it one of the more popular regional amusement destinations in northern Japan. It had a lot going on in its heyday, but as of now, in the year 2026, this park has sat abandoned for around 25 years. And the reason why it closed is the reason why a lot of these parks around Japan lay long closed and abandoned now. The rapidly declining birth rate. Less babies being born every year eventually becomes less families visiting these kinds of small local theme parks, and because of this, less and less begin to exist in Japan. And the declining birth rate is for a number of reasons in itself. Without the big turnouts of the late Showa era, the park now lay slowly decaying with rides rusted in place and nature overtaking the property. And because parts of the park became accessible through Google Maps, people started virtually exploring it like some kind of digital urban exploration site. What makes abandoned amusement parks so creepy, at least to me, is how much is just left behind to just sit and rot. And so many things were commissioned specifically for these parks. Things that cost a lot of money, just abandoned to slowly rot and become forgotten, or become some kind of bizarre, morbid oddity. You can see the state of the park for yourself in the street view captures of the location. Okay, this one is honestly just silly, like silly where I can't even attempt to make it sound creepy like I have been with some of these other topics. This one's it's just silly, and I don't know if I'll make a part 2 to this type of video, like make another one like this. I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. So why not? Let's add the turtle guy. Let's do it. So, at some point near the Naka River, Google Maps captured what appears to be a small green humanoid figure sitting near the water. And it's somewhat large to be captured at this distance. It almost looks like a person dressed as a kappa, which is perfect considering kappa are legendary turtle-like river creatures from Japanese folklore. I can now only find mention of this specific one. I can't even find the example itself, even looking back at archived captures of this location. I genuinely cannot find it, just people trying to find it. So take this one how you want to take it. Supposedly, in the middle of an intersection, Street View captured what appears to be a motorcycle traveling completely on its own. No visible rider, no passenger, just the motorcycle itself moving through traffic. And because Street View images are stitched together, it looked weird, and people immediately started debating whether this was just a camera glitch or something genuinely unexplained. Perhaps paranormal. The most likely explanation is actually pretty simple. The rider was probably distorted or erased during the stitching process while the motorcycle itself remained visible. Who knows? It might be a ghost riding a motorcycle. I don't know. In addition, while researching this specific one, I didn't find the motorcycle, but I did find this house or building that's been blurred out entirely for over a decade now, since 2010 at the earliest street capture. I know this is something that happens every now and then on Google Maps, and there's a variety of reasons as to why, but I don't know the specific reason behind what's going on here. Just down the street from the supposed riderless motorcycle I was trying to find initially. And finally, probably one of the simplest yet most unsettling images people have found on Japanese Google Maps. Deep in a narrow alleyway, particularly obscured by shadow and image compression, is this tall, dark figure standing motionless near the end of the path. It gives you that uncanny horror feel, like some kind of creepypasta image. Realistically, it's almost certainly just an ordinary person, and this is just a matter of perspective and just how the image was captured. But honestly, that's the case with most of these, and that's why all of these are fascinating. Or perhaps these are all cases of the paranormal. Now, You may have concluded while watching this video that a lot of these aren't scary at all. I get comments like this somewhat frequently, people saying, "These aren't scary at all. What's going on in Japan? Why do they think these things are scary?" In short, some do not understand why a lot of these Japanese internet horror topics are noteworthy. So if you are thinking that, do remember that my videos primarily consider the impressions of the Japanese internet users who first witnessed them. There is often a more open-minded look at these images and these types of topics on the Japanese internet, a perspective that leans more into paranormal reasoning above all else. So what may look like a simple glitch or something that's easily explained may be the opportunity to explain potential paranormal activity to many people who frequent those corners of the internet in Japan. One really popular example I think of a lot is the Akiba tape. It's a popular Lost Wave track, a popular Lost Wave internet mystery topic in, outside of Japan for the most part, and for that reason, people are more focused on solving the mystery and identifying the song and attributes of the song and just everything to do with the song. But in Japan, it's more of a horror topic. It's more just consider that cursed song that will curse you if you listen to it and it's scary. The Japanese internet is just kind of like that, and I personally find it to be a very fascinating look at cultural communication and how things are communicated and perceived by different cultures. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up specifically. Hopefully, at the very least, if you didn't think any of these were scary, you thought they were just like Weenie Hut Jr., whatever, not scary at all, I hope you at least found this video fascinating. Huge thank you to Tanet-chan is a cool channel, 9653, Kira Sesyoin, The Ditch Witch, Miles Roberts 9415, Venom 3254, Solid Ellipsis, Vinny Kills 1901, Onyx 619, Andrew Fitzgerald, Mr. Carbon, FLT Nation, Red Hoodie 50, Drake Hunter, Rat Gangsta, Alex Blackburn, Iro Brine, Benny Fajardo, Alex Bunny Kisher, Nick Stuckenborg, Rambo Rao, Travito, Justin, William Baker, Javier Araujo, Torian Gales, Disco Yeti, I'm Just a Cop, Monty Pla, Daru Taganist, Mugen, Ghetto R, Rachel J, Vanessa Yoyoite, Raglan Strom, Fury Haddock, Erlyn SN, Connor McLaughlin, Shelfie, Stefan Bride, Creepy Leanie, Lucille Brown, Pigpen, Newt Fruit Shoot, Hexmaniac Hana, Jeremiah BLR, 322-322-32, Doro Morasso, Ellie L, Flo Ami, Sidnep, Hosea DeRoca, Akali, Kalasiza, Iggs, C Chameleon, Digital Dubs, Shivam Vashi, Pan Fried Life Jacket Awareness, VGM, Argua Bill, Leon X8, Christopher Valencia, PP Pascatag, Madeline Blondo, Airfire, Grand Tactician Soko, and Bishonen Knife. But yeah, thank you again, and I will see you all very soon. If you want to see me sooner, I stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/SakuraStarVT. I'm over there a lot of the time these days. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye for now.